Okay, we're going to get started. We'll just before we get started, so we are here for the West Little Llagas Creek Trail. It looks like we have, 6 or 7 members of the public attending tonight. So we do have this set up as a Zoom webinar, and we do that for security reasons versus just having everyone on. So how we're going to format tonight is we're going to go through a quick presentation on an update for the project, and then we'll open it up for basically questions. And for questions, you can either put your questions in the Q&A in the Zoom meeting, and we will answer them there. Or you can click to raise your hand, and then we will turn on the audio for you, and you can ask your question live. And as you do that, if you're using a phone to call in, instead of you'll need to unmute yourself. You use *9 to unmute yourself. When you're called to speak in the chat, if you're on Zoom, you can click unmute with your mouse, which I think most of you know.
Hey, Chris, Michelle here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify something. For the folks that are calling in, to raise your hand if you want to speak, it's *9. And then you'll be allowed to speak, and then to unmute yourself, it's *6.
Okay, *9, raise your hand, *6, unmute yourself. Cool, and I see there is one person on a phone, so we will at least potentially have one person doing that. Okay, and so just to get started, I am Chris Chioni. I am the Community Services Director for the City of Morgan Hill. With me tonight on the screen is Anthony Yulo, Program Administrator, and he's going to help answer questions, and is the expert on the grant portion of the trail here. He'll have all the answers to that. I'm going to pull up a quick presentation that we're going to go through, and then we'll jump into questions. Oh, hang on one sec. Sorry about that. Okay, so as we mentioned, this is an update on our West Little Llagas Creek Trail project that we've had for a number of years with the City of Morgan Hill. It is in our Bikeways, Trails, Parks, and Recreation Master Plan for the West Little Llagas Creek Trail to actually run north to just near the downtown area and south to Lake Silvera or Silvera Lake. We currently have a big portion of this trail constructed. And if you look on the map here, you can see the area in orange is the area of trail that is constructed. And many of you walk on that, I'm sure. It goes by the Centennial Recreation Center. At the south end, it ends at Watsonville Road. At the north end, it is up to Spring Avenue, and is what we call a Class 1 bike and pedestrian trail. So as you see that on the trail, the south end of that is Watsonville Road. And the area we're going to be talking about tonight is kind of the area I've put in the red rectangle there. And that is where the trail would head south from Watsonville Road to Silvera Lake. The city does have a joint use agreement with the Water District for this portion of the trail. And a joint use agreement and access easement for recreation amenities around Silvera Lake. So we've been planning this for several years. And as many of you know, there is a lot of construction going on near the lake, and actually to the north of the lake, where the channel is being constructed down to Silvera Lake, and Silvera Lake is being rehabilitated into a wetlands area as part of the mitigation for that flood control project. So about a year ago, we presented to the community the proposed trail alignment that would be constructed in follow-up to the Water District's flood control project. And as you see on the screen, it shows that trail would head south from Watsonville Road, past Middle, and then south to near where the bridge, where the creek goes under the bridge on Monterey Road. And then we had planned for a pedestrian bridge to cross over the creek, and the trail to head west on what is now kind of a maintenance utility road to a stopping point at a viewing deck near Lake Silvera at that point. So we had been working on that alignment in many ways. We were working on the design of the alignment as well as working on the environmental work. And as we progressed through that plan, we ran into two big issues. The first being the cost to span the creek and build a pedestrian bridge there. And the second one being the environmental issues related to constructing a bridge there. And we have a limited budget for this project. It is primarily grant funded. And so those constraints were pretty big. Knowing that the flood control project is moving forward and actually getting closer to conclusion, there is an opportunity for the city to construct a portion of this trail with the grant funding that we do have and the ability that we do have to build the trail from an environmental perspective. And so what we've come up with at this point is an alternative alignment for the trail that really comes south from Watsonville Road, still crosses Middle, but as you can see by the diagram of the updated trail alignment, it will not, the pedestrian bridge across the creek would not be constructed, and that would be left for a later phase. So as you look at the picture here on the screen, you can see at Middle Avenue, there'd actually be two trails south, one on the west side of where the channel will be that will take you to a viewing deck, and it will kind of be a dead end next to the lake there, but it'll be an out and back return. And the other one on the east side of the channel, which would continue down to Monterey Road. Also be somewhat a dead end at this point, but down the road the bridge could be added and the trail would be continued. You'll note there is some interpretive signage, as well as the viewing deck's been relocated to the trail on the west side of the creek. And then we would plan actually at least an ADA accessible space at the end of the trail near Monterey Road. So that is the current plan that we'll be proposing as we move forward with the limited grant funding that we do have and the funds available at this time. With that, I'm going to stop talking for a second and ask anyone on the call if they have questions, either that can be in the Q&A or it can be live. So if you'd like to ask a question, you can raise your hand with *9 or by clicking that on your screen, and we will let you speak. Or you can put that in the chat. And while we're waiting for anyone, just ask Tony. Tony, anything I missed that you want to clarify or add?
I think that when you described the dead end on the east side of the trail, you said an ADA space, and you didn't use the word parking. At least I didn't hear the word parking. So
sorry.
It's an ADA accessible parking space, a very small parking lot, essentially, for those that are ADA at the south end of the trail, which is that circle that you see along Monterey Road.
Thank you. Okay, we got a couple hands. So The first person I'm allowing to talk is the person with the phone number ending in 8150. So if you can unmute yourself, you can speak now.
Okay, this is Doug Muirhead. Thank you for having this meeting. My question is, since you're not going to have to deal with the bridge construction and costs and permits, does that reduce our construction timeline to any significant degree? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Doug. Good to hear your voice. Hopefully get to see you at a meeting at sometime in the near future. So to answer the question, yes, it could cut our time. What we are actually doing is we are working with Valley Water to potentially have the trail constructed as part of their project. We're looking into that opportunity right now, which could really accelerate that trail development, although we would not be able to open it right away because we would still be bidding the crossing improvements both at Middle Avenue and at Watsonville Road. And one of those would be a rectangular rapid flashing beacon, which you've seen in many places around the city if you drive around Maine and Del Monte, as well as on the trail to the north at Edmondson. You'll see that there, and that would happen at Middle. And then at Watsonville, we're looking at adding something that's more of I would say a beefier version of that, which would be more like a traffic signal to allow pedestrians to cross there. So we would still be bidding those parts of the project separately, even if we were successfully able to work with the water district to get the paving portion done. But yes, it absolutely could accelerate the timeline. All right. And next up is Linda. Linda, you can unmute and speak now if you'd like.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Tony. What I'm wondering about, for one thing, is the chain link fences that have been put up along Atherton and, it's close, it's in Atherton Estates. I'm wondering if those are going to be taken down later after the construction is over.
Yeah, and I think Mr. Ferrante from the Water District was going to join us. I'm not sure if he is one of the phone numbers I'm seeing on here since he's not the panelist, and he could answer that better than me. But yes, my understanding is the construction fencing will come down in many of the locations. I'd have to ask him on the exact answer to the exact pieces of fencing, but I know there is construction fencing up right now.
Another question I have is, will there be trash receptacles along the trail, and will they be maintained?
Yes. If we're able to construct and open the trail, there would be trash receptacles along it. At this point, the trail on the Atherton side would not be opened and completed at this point, so there wouldn't be trash receptacles on that side, but in all the open areas of the trail, there would be.
I can add that in addition to just regular trash, there'd be the dog waste stations as well, benches. We're even planning for wildlife viewing binoculars at the deck where you can look out over the new marshland.
I also have a question about those big black pipes that are down there right now. But I guess I should wait for Steve on that.
Yeah, and we can follow up on that. And I'll just check if you're on the line and you hit *9, I will on your phone, I'll let you speak. There we go. I think he's here. So, all right. So now, Steve, if you hit *5, you can unmute and talk.
Chris, this is Steve.
Yeah, Steve, did you hear that last question?
Yeah, about the pipes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our diversion pipes, and they'll be out. They have to be by permit. They have to be removed by October 15th. So we're assuming the contractor will start removing them around October 1st.
Thanks, Steve.
Are those diverting the
and the
current flow?
Yeah, what they're doing is they were used initially to dewater Lake Silvera, and now they're used to take care of groundwater that's coming into the site, as well as upstream flows. You know, the creek is basically running through that through the diversion pipe.
Great. And Steve, did you hear that previous question about the construction fencing?
No, I'm sorry. I had some network problems, so that's why I'm a little late.
Oh, no problem. We had someone, Linda was asking that some of the chain link fencing would be coming down once the project is complete on the Atherton Way side.
Yeah, all the chain link fence comes down, and permanent black vinyl coated fence goes up. And where there's designated areas for the access to the area, it'll be like bollards or breaks in the fence to allow for access.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that has
We do have some questions actually written in, Chris.
Oh, great. Let me see if I can actually.
I can read them. Is there any chance, this is from Doug Hall, and is there any chance the West Side Trail going to the viewpoint could somehow connect to the east side, assuming this is the missing bridge?
So yeah, not that the missing bridge, Doug, is actually, if you see my cursor right here, where it crossed the creek right here to get us to the trail on the south side. I think you're talking about proposing a bridge across the channel in this area, which is something we can definitely look at, but we need to talk to the water district. We haven't discussed or explored that at all. It's a good idea if I got that correct in what you were saying.
And I think you did. And his next question, although Doug, write in if we didn't, but the next question is, any chance we could go to private sector or other grants to attempt more funding and further complete the original plan?
Yes, absolutely. And just so you know, the bigger plan is still in the works. We just have grant funding we need to use now, as well as we have an opportunity, as I mentioned, to partner with Valley Water to complete some of these trails. So we want to at least move forward with the areas we can, but we're not giving up on the long-term plan either. So if we found that funding sooner rather than later, we could continue to move forward with that. Although I have to say there's design work and environmental work that needs to occur before we can move forward there.
If I can just elaborate a little bit, that it requires quite an extensive environmental study and a separate permit, because Llagas Creek, the creek that flows from east to west through this area, is considered a crucial habitat for steelhead, I believe. So it's a big to-do, permitting-wise, to get that done. And then Jody Hall, I'm not sure if that's any relation, but first question's from Doug Hall, and now Jody. And she asks, what is the timeline on this?
Yeah, so there actually is an opportunity for us to potentially have this trail open by early next year, if everything goes well and we're able to partner with the Valley Water to do the trail component. Then we would bid and construct the traffic safety devices for the two crossings. So there is a very good chance that we could see this come to fruition early next year.
And go ahead.
Oh, I would say I saw her next
Go for it, yeah.
question, and it's a crossing for Watsonville Road. What we're looking at right now is something that's a little larger than the standard rectangular rapid flashing beacon. There's different names for what it is, but it's a crosswalk with it's basically like a traffic signal that would stop traffic on Watsonville Road so people can cross the road.
It's worth sharing that obviously, if you're asking the question, you probably have the same concern we did, that cars go pretty darn fast on Watsonville. We really looked at that and even tried to evaluate how we could put a bridge there, and there isn't room for the landing of the bridge on the north side of the existing trail, as I recall. So we've taken it very seriously, if that's the basis of the question.
Yeah, exactly. And the bridge would be a couple $1 million. And so we think this opportunity with the signal there will not only provide for pedestrian safety, but could help, in slowing traffic when there are people crossing.
And there's a question in the chat as well from Tom. Is it reasonable to assume a bridge will ever be built due to environmental reasons? Touched on that a little bit, Chris. Why don't you just elaborate?
Yeah, no, we think we can do it. As Tony was mentioning, there's a lot of work, but we know there is a bridge there's potentially an opportunity to span most of that area. So it's definitely possible. So we will work on that. That is realistic, and that is in our plan. And as I just jumped backwards to the previous, the idea would be that it would come down in the next phase to a viewing area down here along the lake. Yeah, we have we totally intend to do that still. It's in our master plan, and the Valley Water has been very helpful in ensuring that will happen as well. So that's still in the cards.
I'm not seeing any other questions or chat at this time.
Got
Hands raised? Okay.
Yeah, I got Evelyn. You are now able to unmute and ask your question.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Tony. I'd like to know if there's any, was there any room in that grant for art to continue the wildlife theme through that portion of the trail?
Well, we can't imagine why you would be asking that question. Yes, there is a small budget for art.
And does that have to be by the end of the year? Is this all to be completed this year?
No.
Okay. Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
And for those of you who don't know, Evelyn is a local artist who has designed the bronze sculptures. I'm saying this right, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely.
The bronze sculptures that are currently found on the wildlife trail near the CRC.
And downtown as well. Our foxes downtown and the deer. Any other questions? Okay, I don't see any other questions. We'll give you a few more minutes if anyone wants to pop into any of these or pop some questions into the chat or raise your hand. But just would share next steps. We are, the next steps would be us finalizing an agreement for to partner with Valley Water to construct the pavement portion. And that would go to our city council through a cost sharing agreement. We'll also be going over this at our next Parks and Recreation Commission meeting, which is on my calendar in front of me. I should have had that.
We'll hold that thought. And Michelle's let us know that there was a question asked on the Facebook stream, which is how much is this going to cost? And of course, when you design a project, you never really know until you bid it out. Our budget is $986,000 currently. Of that, we've received a grant from the state for about $227,000, a grant from Valley Water for $200,000, and a grant from the Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority for $100,000. So as Chris mentioned, over half is grant funded currently, but the total budget we estimate currently is $986,000.
And with that said, the remainder that we would be paying would come from our Park Impact Fund. which are not tax dollars. These are funds that developers pay when they build, that can only be used to build park space. So in the construction of this, there would not be taxpayer dollars spent. At least Morgan Hill taxpayer dollars. And our Parks and Recreation Commission meeting is on September 15th. So a little less than 2 weeks, where we'll be going over this with them. They're also via Zoom. And then we have not determined the council meeting date where we would take the partnership agreement with Valley Water, but that would likely be later this month or next in September or October. So it'd be moving pretty quickly. And we will be updating our website with this updated presentation and maps. And this video will also be available, recorded and available as well. And if we don't see any other questions or anyone raising their hands, we will conclude the meeting.
Jody, thanks for keeping this going. Our pleasure, Jody.
Yeah, good seeing everybody on the call. We really appreciate you joining us.
You're welcome, Tom.
All right, I guess we are going to be done. We will see you guys either at the Parks and Rec Commission, City Council meeting, or around Morgan Hill. Everyone have a great evening.
Bye, thanks for coming.